Hello guys, welcome back to another video. How are you all doing? My name is Lua. Just look at the colors, look at the variety. Well, this is what a week's worth of my shopping on a raw vegan diet looks like. How much does it really cost? Is it affordable? And what are the things that I've learned which you need to think about before starting out? Keep watching. This is my weekly shopping haul. I don't know if you can see close enough, but I'll start showing you what I got. So let's start with this bananas. I use a lot of bananas, nuts, the raw nuts for nibbling. I've got medjool dates. This is a sweetener I use. And then I've got blueberries. This is not raw, by the way. It's a snack which I found, and I just bought it because it's vegan, gluten-free, and high in fiber. And I thought I'll taste it once I decide what I'm doing with myself. So I've got my watermelons. Normally I get 2 a week, but because I got other things I normally don't get, I went for just 1. The next thing are pineapples. I've got this grapes. So in terms of cost, with the cost of living, I will give you a summary of what I spent on this grocery haul. This cost me about £25 in Aldi. So not too bad. It is expensive if the whole family eating this, but this will last me for a week and a bit. Pineapple. I've got baby spinach, kale, romaine heart lettuce, radish. I've got green apples, which is for my smoothies, cucumber, my mixed peppers, whole almonds, avocados. I love avocados. Ooh. Got oranges, ginger, limes, mangoes, celery, basil, red apples, and I've got something in the freezer which I had kept so it doesn't melt, and I'll bring it in a minute, so just bear with me. Mango chunks. So I blend this with bananas a lot. Showed you my blueberries, and this as well, green onions and red cabbage over there. And that's it. This will take me comfortably for a week. Okay, let's talk now about the things that you need to know before starting off on a vegan diet. So let's go straight into that. Hi guys, my name is Lua, and if this is the first time you've come across me, I do videos a lot about my journey to getting to the most healthy version of myself. Recently, I have been doing some sort of vegan diet. Initially, it started as eating raw fruits and veg. I had a few people comment, ask about what I use, like my blenders, after my first video. And I decided to do this just to advise anybody thinking of starting off. I'm going to talk about what you need to consider if you think of starting off on this, especially if you've been consuming normal foods, but you have been dabbing and trying and thinking, can I do this? Yes, I'm sure you can. The first thing I'll say is think about what you want to do. Do you want to be fully raw, consume raw vegan meals, or do you want to be partly raw? Because that's another thing. You can decide to have maybe a raw meal, 1 out of your 3 meals a day, or you might want to practice a raw vegan diet 4 out of 7 days a week. That entirely depends on you and what you want to achieve. And that's why I thought that this video, if I knew what I'm going to tell you guys now, things will be different. So the first thing I want to say is, especially if you live alone, is get into your fridge and clean it. Most things that you've cooked in your fridge or freezer, leftover takeaways, will probably be cooked. So if you want to start this, give yourself a date and don't make too many plans because you keep pushing. Just get on with it. Declutter your mind, your environment, and the food you eat. Once your fridge is nice and clear, think now about what you want to stock it up with. And that's where I might help. That's the first thing. The next thing that I'll advise you to do is get the right products. A blender, I know that was one thing I got asked in my last video, what blender I use. Get a strong blender. I don't have what my dream blender is yet because I'm just starting this and I don't want to jump into massive expenditure. But if you can afford, get yourself a really good juicer. Do some research. The Namas are good, or the Vitamix, again, they are good. So you can get yourself a good blender and a good juicer, because it makes life easier. And I do a lot of juicing. Most of what you'll eat tends to, especially for your sauces, your raw sauces, will tend to be blended. So consider that, because it's raw, so it needs to really be strong. And also, if you really want to go on this fully, you might think about getting like a dehydrator. You might want to consider. The next thing I'll say is, if you have a family and you want to get everybody into this lifestyle, then you might want to consider the expenditure. Why do I say so? I'm not saying it's more expensive to eat raw vegan, but I'll always say that if you're going to be eating raw vegan meals only, it's best to have them organic, just because that's all you consume, and you'll avoid all the pesticides sprayed and any other chemicals that will be on this non-organic things that you consume. So you might want to go maybe organic, and they're not cheap. On the contrary, you can actually go organic but frozen. So you want to consider, do you want to get more of your frozen fruits or more fresh? Depends on the recipes. I have a mixture of both, like you've seen in the haul. I have some things that have to be frozen for my smoothies because it gives the yogurt consistency, and I love it. So those are the things you have to ask yourself, those 4 questions. Empty your fridge. Why are you doing this? What are you doing? Is it going to be partly full, or is it a detox? That would help to shape how much you get rid of in your fridge. Is this a full lifestyle change? Can you cope? Or do you want to just go vegan first and perhaps eat meals that are cooked, and then you can slowly come down into a raw lifestyle? It depends on you. And as I said, lastly, do you want organic or not, as well as frozen or fresh? Once you understand those, it'll help you to get your first set of shopping, or your first shopping that you'll go for, to make sure that you're well stocked up at home. Because when you fail to plan, you definitely are planning to fail. And I've said this on this channel, on several other videos, and it works. Let's go to the next thing I will talk about. The things to know if you're thinking of starting off. I cannot really give you guys a lot of advice because I think I'm new and I'm still watching people and learning, is to educate yourself. That's why I said I'm still learning. I keep constantly reading about the things that I can add, because it feels sometimes boring. I learn about things that I did not know, and there were actually vegan additives to your meals, like raw cacao. Just make food more exciting and experiment. I experimented with things that I did not imagine I could do with food. That makes you more adventurous, and it makes it less lazy. Now, the last point is, for example, in terms of breakfast, you think about what you like. Personally, I find that hydrating myself in the morning is the way forward. I will never go wrong with a watermelon drink with all the advantages, or with a green smoothie where you make sure you add things like limes, you add things like kale, anti-inflammatory root vegetables like ginger. That you cannot go wrong with that. And then sometimes during the day, if you feel peckish, you can go for things like, say, a cucumber paste, a carrot paste, or an actual frozen yogurt smoothie, which is fruit, because when it's hot, it's really refreshing. And then for dinner, I always try to have something like feels like food when it's cold. And I'm trying to experiment on a raw soup with noodles. I'm still doing my investigation on how raw that is, but otherwise I can just do like a spicy salsa, and I put some chili flakes, and that makes me sweat and I feel like I'm eating food. And another thing I'll just advise that I have learned, vitamin B12, which tends to be absent from a lot of the raw meals that one consumes on this sort of diet. So bear that in mind as well. Have an additive to boost your system so that you don't get unwell. And last but not the least, always have a list. Whenever your shopping day is, look at what you've enjoyed the first week, and if you liked it and it's easy to replicate, maybe you should make sure that you stock your home again when you go to the shops. But don't just stock blindly. Actually do a recipe of what you want to eat. Before I went out shopping, I knew what I'll cook with all of this, and by Thursday I probably will be finished, because most of what I'll have will be a lot of the smoothies, and I just drink them, and that's my meal. Sometimes I just juice for 2 days and I don't feel the effects of not eating because I have all the vitamins. So write what is in your menu and extrapolate that and go and do your shopping. I hope that this will help somebody. There are a lot of beautiful recipes that you can have raw or cooked vegan, and I have been learning and I've been exploring and I've been reading and I've been watching, and I want to share with you guys. So thanks again very much for watching. And if you've been watching my videos and if you enjoyed this and found this helpful, please do well to subscribe, like the video, and if you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask them. All right, thank you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.